What is up, everybody? Very important video coming at you tonight. Tonight's video is about mindset, going through an injury, mindset, going through health issues, etc. Recently, for me, you guys know I had first cellulitis, and then recently didn't get officially diagnosed because apparently the Lyme disease tests aren't always conclusive in the early stages, but doctors were very sure that I had, early Lyme disease, etc. Symptoms, blah, 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 that whole thing. Now, what the hell does that all mean? It means that for the last 7 weeks, guys, after having what I would like to say is probably the best summer of training I've had in like 3 or 4 or 5 years, I went through the last 6 weeks of just absolute lethargy, to say the least. I mean, physically, I felt run down, beat down. Sleeping was meh. I really didn't have the energy to do anything like super intense, and I had fever and I had rash on my leg for the cellulitis, and then with the early Lyme, it went from me being really winded to irregular heartbeat that was just stressing me out and making me feel really weird. I mean, I couldn't even walk from here to, the playground over there, which is literally like 20 yards away, without feeling it. So I've been going through all this stuff for the last 6-7 weeks, and it's been a real pain in the ass, especially for someone who is active as hell as me and lives by the MBS way, right? Mind, body, spirit, at least 60 minutes a day doing exercise. But for me over the summer, more like 2.5, 3 hours, depending on what the day was, right? Between yoga and long runs and sprints and lifting, etc. I'm an active person. I love to train. It pushes me beyond my limits, pushes me outside my comfort zone, helps me grow as a human, helps me grow as a coach, helps me grow as a business owner, etc. So many awesome things come from training, not to mention it anchors me in the present, keeps me super present, super now, super focused. And for the last 6-7 weeks, I haven't been able to do shit, man. So what the hell does that do to me psychologically? And a lot of you guys know, because you've been here before, where you've had an injury, you haven't been able to do stuff. Some of you are still doing this. So what do you do when you're injured? That's what this video is about, right? Or when you're hurt, or when you have health issues and you can't do your physical activities. Well, guys, that's the beauty of MBS, right? I mean, for me, I'm all about mind, body, spirit. I'm all about growing mentally, physically, and spiritually each and every day. So what does that mean as far as getting through health injuries and through injuries and health issues? Well, guys, it means that you need to find it deep within you to keep going, keep making progress, keep moving forward in different alternative ways, right? It's not just all about fitness. Guys, if you're out there and it's all about fitness for you, hate to tell you, but you're off. You're not right. You're wrong. It's not all about fitness, right? Because I know people that are really jacked, that have the most insecurity of anyone I've ever met. I know people who are really in shape and look fantastic physically, but deep down they are an absolute mess. And it's a lot of things going on there, guys. Psychologically, they're not in the right mindset. They're not from a place of love and abundance of who they are. They're from a place of fear and scarcity, of worrying that, hey, I'm not good enough, right? A lot of times. If you are someone, in this case, who doesn't value themselves, right? Of course, there are people that are really fit and still are mentally, physically, spiritually intact. I'm talking about the ones that are just on the fitness portion and only really focus on that stuff and don't go deeper in any of the other areas. You're going to run into a lot of issues, especially if you can't work out, because now all of a sudden what? Right? Only thing that gives you progress, gives you pleasure in your life, you no longer can do it. So now mentally, you're just trapped in your mind. If you don't like yourself, or you're not in the process of valuing yourself, respecting yourself by taking action, and then learning to love yourself, well then guess what? You're in hell. You're not going to feel good. You're going to eat this. You're going to eat yourself. Dude, I can't work out. I can't do this. I can't do that. Oh my gosh, my life's over. It sucks. I'm so depressed. I can't do anything anymore. My heart isn't working. And then, guys, let me tell you something about that negative attitude. That's going to bleed into the rest of your body. If you think that having a negative attitude is going to help you heal faster, you're out of your mind. Right? You need to reverse that with a positive attitude, okay? Now, for me, let's talk about me. The last 6-7 weeks have been really tough, of course, because I haven't been able to do what I like to do, which is train early in the morning, train in the evening, etc. Right? So what have I had to do? Well, I've had to do alternative forms of personal development and growth, right? So mentally, I've been reading way more than I have in a very long time. I've been writing way more than I have in a very long time. And believe it or not, guys, I think the best part about this whole thing, I always am looking for the good within the bad, right? Always looking for the good within the bad, because there's always a blessing in disguise, something happening. And the thing that I realized is I have all this time, I may as well start this MBS guide, right? So I started writing my first book, right? My first pamphlet, my first whatever the fuck you want to call it. I don't even know exactly what it's going to turn into. Right now I have it as an MBS guide, but the more I write, the more I realize that I can just keep going on and on and on and on and on, right? Because it's something that I'm really passionate about, and something that also aligns with my purpose. So I could go on and on and on about the way that MBS has impacted me and how you can integrate it into your life to see amazing results mentally, physically, and spiritually, elevating your awareness, consciousness, confidence up to a whole new level, awakening your infinite potential, changing the world, right? By changing yourself. Boom, you're out here, you can do it. Anyway, that's what I've been focusing on, right? So within this bad, which is, oh my gosh, I can't work out, I have Lyme disease possibly, I have cellulitis, I have fever, I'm this, I'm that, I'm blah, blah, blah. I've also had this amazing blessing that is, I can go and I can write this book, and I can go in depth, and I can create. And in the process of doing this, what I've realized is that there's so much opportunity even in the seed of what looks like to be something that's really atrocious, really horrible, really terrible, right? But if you're that person who's only there from the physical perspective, this is going to hit you 10 times harder. So you need to really listen up, right? So what can you do when you're not able to work out? Well, number one, you guys can read, you can learn, you can write, you can document your experience, you can start to look at things as not looking at yourself about for every single thing, and start looking at the other people around you and how you could potentially help them with anything that's going on in their life. There are a million things that you can do. A million things. But you won't actually be able to do any of them without the right perspective on this exact issue, which means that you need to get to a place where you are looking at this from a positive. Okay, this sucks, but what's the good out of this, right? I'm not sick and dying. So for me with Lyme disease, all right, I'm not dying, right? For a little while there with my heart rate, I was sketched. I was really worried. I was like, what the hell's going on? How is my heart doing right now? I'm walking from here to the end of the block, and my heart's like all over the place, sounding like like a band club, you know what I mean? Just out of control. And in the process of that, I kind of had the realization that it could be worse. I could already be in the hospital. I could already be like passing out, having a heart attack. All kinds of horrible things could happen to me, right, for being in this position. And that, since I'm not at those places and at those levels, well, then I guess I should be really grateful, and I should look towards serving during my time of feeling kind of shitty, right? And so that's what I did, guys. During my time in the last 7 weeks, I'm feeling a lot better now. The thing that I focused most of my time on was, number one, serving myself in other ways. Number two, serving my clients at a higher level. And number three, really putting a lot of energy and effort into the observance of what's actually happening to me right now. Like, how does it really impact me when I can't train physically? And I'll tell you what, guys, it definitely affects me. It affects me a lot. But thank goodness that I'm developing my mindset and developing my spirit, right? My true, authentic self inside, because those two avenues help lift this up. Even though I can't get any from that, these two are compensating for it. So I feel a lot better. And guess what? The first day that I felt better, I went for a walk. Second day, I went for 2 walks. Third day, I went for 3 walks. Fourth day, I tried to get in the gym, right? So, I mean, I'm already bouncing back, already ready in the mindset, but it wouldn't have happened if I hadn't been able to balance it, guys. That's why MBS is so important. So when we're talking about health-related setbacks, right? Injuries, health issues, whatever it is, you need to understand that is just a phase. It's not going to define you, okay? It won't define you unless you let it define you. Therefore, you need to find an outlet, something positive, right? But it all starts with first accepting, hey, this happened to me and this fucking sucks, but I'm not dead, and that's awesome. Now what can I do to get better, to grow, to learn from this experience, okay? How can I be grateful that I'm not in a worse place? And then start taking action in that direction, right? Learn new things, read, write, meet people, grow, whatever it is. There's always something, right? In the seed of anything bad, there's something good. But only if you are able to look at it with the correct perspective, right? And that's what we cultivate in MBS, and that's what this is all about, guys. That's what this thing of life is about, is learning to take the bad and finding the good in it, right? I'm wearing my Darth Vader shirt, right? There's a reason I'm wearing this shirt. It's because it's really comfortable. But the other reason I'm wearing this shirt today is simply because, listen, dude, I was on the dark side there for a little bit, man. I was like, oh my God, my life sucks. I can't train anymore. And guess what? When I was writing the MBS guide, I wasn't bitching at all. I was stoked. I was like, I'm finally doing this. I wouldn't even have been able to sit down and actually do this if I hadn't been in this place, right? So always looking for the good that's wrapped up in the bad. And when you get to a place where you have an injury or a health-related issue that's setting you back, you need to come to that place of acceptance of, hey, this is happening. Perspective, switch. This could be worse. and then start taking action on things that you can control, things you can do to get better yourself. And then once you're feeling healthy again, you've already leveled up in other areas, and when you finally get back in the gym, you appreciate it that much more, right? You appreciate it that much more. And that is my advice, and also some of my own personal experience having gone through some of this stuff in the last 7 weeks, because like I said, it's been absolute crap. I despise it, right? I don't like being injured. I don't like being sick. I don't like the fact that my heart was jumping out of my skin. It makes me feel really uncomfortable. And the fact that I've been able to power through it, and I'm on the antibiotic and I'm feeling a lot better, makes me super happy, super grateful, and super excited for what's to come, because there's so many amazing things that are going to come from this time that I took off from training, right? My body got a chance to rest. I had a chance to recoup. I had a chance to refresh my mind. I had a chance to reprogram for my actual training, right? I had a chance to write my guide. I had a chance to read, write, learn, work with my clients on a deeper level, give more time to myself in different ways. There's so many good things that came of it, but you can only do this if you first accept what's happening, second, switch your perspective, and third, start to look at all the other things you can do to get better now. Okay? Hope this was helpful for you guys. I believe that there's a lot of value in this video, to be honest with you, and it's really all about your perspective. And it's a really great quote. I'll end it with a quote by Zig Ziglar. It says, it's not your aptitude that determines your altitude, it's your attitude. Actually, the quote goes, attitude, not aptitude, will determine your altitude. There we go, right? Attitude, not aptitude, will determine your altitude. Zig Ziglar, don't forget it, guys. Keep the right perspective. Just because stuff's happening to you and it doesn't look good on the outside doesn't mean there's something amazing going on the inside. You need to shift your perspective and always be aware that something else is happening in the midst of something not so good. Shift acceptance, shift your perspective, scan the environment, see what you can do now, grow from it, and then be grateful when you do get to do that thing again. Much love. Peace, peace. Imagines find a way. Serve one world. Use your gifts in the other order.